Look at your phone bill. Find the line called Universal Service Fund, or Universal Connectivity Charge, or Regulatory Programs and Telco Recovery Fee. That's a federal program. You pay into it every month. And one of the people on the receiving end is a convicted felon selling internet that the FCC's own definition calls obsolete. This is how billions of dollars in public subsidy can end up paying for service that you would not buy at any price, on a market that should have replaced it years ago. Welcome to the Scam Ledger. The Universal Service Fund exists for a reason. Rural America is genuinely expensive to wire. Mountains, islands, tundra, a long line of poles to one cabin. The fund was designed to make sure people in those places can still get a phone, and now, internet. The mechanism is simple. Phone carriers contribute 37 cents of every dollar of their long-distance and international revenue into the fund. They pass it on to you as that line item on your bill. The FCC then sends the money to carriers serving high-cost areas. Alaska is, by any measure, high cost. Since 2016, Alaska has pulled in $4.6 billion in these subsidies. That works out to about $600 a year for every Alaskan. Now look at what some of that money is buying. Summit Telephone serves several hundred customers north of Fairbanks. Its fastest internet plan in that region maxes out at 25 megabits a second. It costs $135 a month. The FCC defines broadband as at least 100 megabits a second. Summit is incapable of delivering that. Starlink, in the same service area, advertises up to 280 megabits a second for $90 to $130. So the federal subsidy is paying a premium for slower service than the unsubsidized competitor offers in the same place. The math, according to ProPublica's analysis of the public records, works out to about $800 a month per customer, $10,000 a year of public money for one household's internet. And here is where it gets stranger. Summit's owner is Roger Shoffstall. He was convicted by a federal jury in Fairbanks in 2010 of felony tax evasion. The jury found he had failed to pay roughly $133,000 in taxes, interest, and penalties from 1996 through 2003. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. His conviction is for tax evasion. It is not a finding of fraud against the subsidy program. We are not saying he stole from the Universal Service Fund. We are saying a federal jury convicted him of a felony, and the federal government continues to send his company over $1 million a year. In one specific month, December 2013, when Shoffstall was in federal prison, Summit Telephone received $859,000 in subsidies. The check kept going out. Carol Maddie was the FCC deputy chief who oversaw this program. ProPublica quoted her directly, quote, "We tried so hard not to treat Alaska differently because our goal was to create defined deployment obligations for all companies, and we failed. The political pressure was too strong," unquote. The political pressure she is referring to is bipartisan. For decades, Alaska's senators and House members have pushed to protect carve-outs in how the subsidy is allocated. The carve-outs make it harder to require Alaska carriers to meet modern speed standards. The result is a system where the fund pays out, but the FCC has limited tools to claw back if the service is bad. Daniel Lyons, a telecommunications law professor at Boston College, put it bluntly to ProPublica, quote, "It's not proven how successful it is because the FCC is not very good at auditing its program," unquote. This is not isolated. The same pattern has shown up before. In Hawaii, Sandwich Isles Communications was fined $49.6 million by the FCC and ordered to repay $27 million in connection with program abuses. Its owner, Albert He, was convicted on federal tax crimes in 2015. That conviction is final. And in Alaska itself, in 2023, GCI, the state's largest telecom, agreed to pay over $40 million to settle federal allegations that it inflated prices and violated competitive bidding rules in a related FCC program, the Rural Healthcare Program. The settlement contains no admission of wrongdoing. Allegations go in the allegation box. $40 million paid is a fact. So, the receipts so far. Receipt 1. A federal subsidy program that taxes everyone with a phone bill, 37 cents on the dollar of long-distance revenue. Receipt 2. A regional system in Alaska where one operator's flagship product is slower than the FCC's own broadband definition, more expensive than the satellite competitor in the same service area, and run by a man with a federal felony conviction. Receipt 3. A separate $40 million settlement against the state's biggest telecom for allegedly inflating prices in a related FCC program. Receipt 4. An FCC deputy chief on the record saying the program failed to enforce its own deployment obligations. The scam ledger entry here is not one bad operator. It is the design of the program. Universal service is a real public good. Rural Americans deserve real internet, and in many places, the only way they will get it is some form of public support. The question is not whether to have the program. The question is who the money is actually buying speed for, who is auditing the result, and what happens when the technology that was state-of-the-art when the subsidy was written is now slower than a 45-degree dish on a roof. If you are paying into this fund every month, and you almost certainly are, that is the question on the receipt.